Alright guys, I am in the car about to embark on a just shy of 2 hour drive down to the Three Men in the Basement comic swap. Really looking forward to it. I woke up before my alarm, just giddy with excitement to get some comics, maybe make some trades. I don't have that many books that are great for trade, but I grabbed a few things, and if it happens, it happens. Alright, time to hit the road. All right, guys, we made it to the Three Men in the Basement show. It was really bad visibility because of rain and fog, but no traffic or anything like that. So let's head on in. I want to give a huge thank you to my boy Noah of Broke Boy Comics. I neglected to take any footage of the actual show floor and the vendors and whatnot, and Noah was kind enough to share with me some stills that he took so I can at least give you a small taste of what the show looked like. Thank you again, Noah. You're a lifesaver. Alright guys, so it's a couple days after the show. Before we get into the haul itself, I have to give a shout out to all the great people and vendors that I met. So just to keep it snappy, shout out to Noah from Broke Boy Comics, who was great in encouraging me to go to the show, gave me some tips and a general heads up on what's going on. I met his friend Jesse of Planet Mayhem. Got to meet Chinmo and Otto of Three Men in the Basement. Got to talk at length with Cliff from Cliff on Comics. And got to meet Mike from Lunch Money Comics, a fellow Massachusetts resident and general good influence on the comic book community. As far as some of the vendors I shopped with, you're going to see a huge chunk of today's haul from J&S Collectibles. I have quite the stack of dollar books that I got from their booth and made some purchases, or at least great interactions with 360 Comics, the Pope of Chillytown, and Uncle Frank's Comics. I also have to mention the venue itself, Angry Hair, which is normally a hair salon during its normal business hours. But even knowing that it was going to be a salon, I didn't realize how huge that event space would be. I mean, they had a live DJ going, plenty of vendors. I didn't even actually get to visit every vendor because I'm still kind of figuring out how to dig through books at a decent pace. I'm still very much a newbie at the comic convention, comic show scene, but you live and learn. I think that's the overall theme of today's video. Now, I mentioned getting a great stack of dollar books from J&S Collectibles, and that was one really interesting thing. I went in thinking I may grab a few dollar books or run fillers, but really focus on getting some more of my 2025 gold books, some big boy books maybe. And just the complete opposite happened. I've got a bunch of great books for $1, $2. I think the most I spent on any single book was about $5. So definitely no big boy books here. But days later, I am still just beaming with what I was able to pick up. I had a bunch of runs that I've been collecting for a long time that I was able to wrap up after this trip, or at least reevaluate. But before we get into the show haul, if you're enjoying this video, if you enjoy the other videos on my channel, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as these are all ways to help support and grow the channel. In general, I think I got some great deals on some great books. There's not a lot of places to get dollar books in the Boston metro area, even the surrounding area. My LCS has $2 books. Other regular stores I go to might have $4 for $10, but nothing quite like $1 books. I know some of y'all out there have 50-cent books and quarter books. Even if that's a sale price, it doesn't usually get that cheap for me. All that is just to give you a little framework of what I might consider a good deal. And while we won't discuss prices in every single part of this haul, it's definitely going to be discussed right now. So the vendor's name escapes me. I just know it's a gentleman from New Hampshire, and he had a lot of great selections in the $5 boxes, and it was buy two, get one free. Now, what I came to realize was there were some bundles in this, and I had to double check because one bundle I saw, and keep in mind the bundle was for $5, was this beauty right here, Wolverine and Gambit, number 1 through 4. This is a series by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. So these are in great condition. I think I might have had a pause in my collecting when this series first came out. I absolutely love this duo from their various color series like Daredevil Yellow, Spider-Man Blue, Hulk Gray, etc. And always happy to pick up another series. I haven't read this yet. It was already on my to-read list. It's available digitally on Marvel Unlimited, but now that I have a physical copy, I'll definitely be checking out this version instead. And these all have kind of a more premium feel to it, kind of a cardstock cover, and also spotlight to issue 4 here. Absolutely beautiful cover. So that was one bundle for $5, but that wasn't the only bundle. We also had Kitty Pryde and Wolverine by Chris Claremont, issues 1 through 6, and altogether this was also $5. So grabbing these 2 bundles, I could grab another either bundle or single option for $5. But I'll show you what I got for that entry in just a sec, because let's go through these covers. Just a fun series. I think Al Milgrom is on pencils here. And while the Wolverine and Gambit books were really pristine condition, these have a little bit more wear, some spine ticks here and there. Nothing terrible by any means. And given that it's an older book, and even this one, issue 4 coming up, is the black cover does not really hide any stress on the spine. But the main thing from this miniseries is that at the end of it, Kitty Pryde picks up the name Shadowcat. And she is a character who has, quite a number of nicknames. Besides her given name Kitty Pryde, she was Sprite, she was Ariel. Later on, in Krakoa era, I think she was starring over by Kate. I think from the Ashes, the current era we're in, I think she's back to Kitty. I'm not sure. I'm not reading. I think Exceptional X-Men is the title she's in. So also there's a lot of ninja stuff. Wolverine and Japan have a strong connection. So those 2 bundles already, if I just got those 2 for $10, I think that's already a great deal. But I still have one more selection, and technically this can be the free one or whatever. It's all these guys were $10. We got some Daredevil, and there's gonna be much more Daredevil later as well, so stay tuned. But I got issue 190, a big book that also features the resurrection of Elektra. So very cool cover there. I think price-wise, that worked out very well. I mean, technically, it was less than $1 a book, and we have more dollar books to cover. All right, let's keep moving forward. Next up, we have Silver Surfer 102, and this one is just continuing my run of the 90s Silver Surfer series. Next up, we have some Incredible Hulk, and I forgot to mention, these are all dollar books. So we have issue 368 here, which features a cover by Sam Keith, and the first appearance of the Pantheon. And I love this cover. This is the second of 2 Hulk comics. Hulk 378. I'm getting some Christmas covers, getting ready for later this December. And Grey Hulk going head to head with Santa. I had to get this one. Then we got some Ghost Rider. And things might be a little wonky because they're on order, but rest assured, this kind of is helping me cross off my Ghost Rider goal of issues 1 through 50 of the 90s run featuring Danny Ketch Ghost Rider. That might be a little spoiler because you'll see Ghost Rider comics come later, so I won't go too in-depth. Either way, I needed issue number 4 and then issue 25, which, funny enough, this is another one of those comics which I did own at one point. This is probably one that originally would have been one of my earliest Ghost Rider comics. Soon after this, there was a crossover with the X-Men. This one features a gatefold cover, as well as showing the transition from Danny Ketch Human to the skull-headed Ghost Rider. So very cool cover in general, brings back memories, and just happy to have it in my run. These were not dollar books, but they were pretty cheap. I've been looking to complete my Batman Sword of Azrael miniseries. I had issues 1 and 4. Issue number 1 is the first appearance of Azrael, who would become Batman in that whole, Nightfall, Night Quest thing. But I've been looking for issues 2 and issue 3. Issue 3. This series had Dennis O'Neil on writing duties and Joe Quesada on art. And I know he still does some pieces on occasion. I think Joe Quesada's got a Silver Surfer variant coming out this summer, but I quite enjoyed his art style in the 90s. Kind of going back to larger runs, I had to pick up some X-Men. That Claremont X-Men run is still being chipped away at. I have an upgrade copy of X-Men 207 featuring a classic cover by John Romita Jr. and Wolverine. This one was $1, and it is an upgrade copy of the one I have. The one I have, which I received as a gift, had a little bit of tape pull at the top, so I had a chance to upgrade it for $1. I'm on it. Then just some filler issues. Issue 233 featuring the Brood, and issue 246 featuring a new Master Mold. And then the last X-Men related thing. I'm picking up this miniseries as I can, as I have seen it show up in dollar boxes, dollar shows. We've got Havoc and Wolverine Meltdown, issue 2. And this is, kind of square bound. I think, it's under the Epic Comics imprint, so I think it had a more mature tone. This one's written by Walter and Louise Simonson. It's got some great abstract art here. It's almost Bill Sienkiewicz-like, but it's not him. I don't think so. If it is, I'll be sure to note it here. While largely Marvel, there's some DC books scattered in this mix. This one I've actually heard about for a while now, and this was within the dollar box too. It is Lex Luthor, the unauthorized biography. It's funny, I think, Silver Age and everything maybe up till the modern age, Lex Luthor was always portrayed, or was often portrayed, as a slightly larger man, a little more portly, and this one goes with that depiction. I can imagine, Lex Luthor being a businessman, being a CEO, founder of his own company. The owner, the founder, has a large oil painting of themselves, in their office or in the lobby. This is totally what Lex would have hanging up. And on top of that, it's kind of a story of, early signs of his evilness, if you will. Really looking forward to reading this one. And then I had to pick up some Iron Man because I have been getting, I think, issues related and near the original Armor Wars, which is like below the 220s around then, as well as War Machine related, like first appearances, early appearances. So we have issue 223, which is just before the start of Armor Wars. This is kind of setting that, that crossover up. This features the first appearance of Firepower, who later on kind of reconciles with Tony, I believe. Then we have the first cameo appearance of the War Machine armor. It's Tony in there, not Rhodey. So issue 281, and that's the Mandarin on the cover. That's the first cameo? Yeah, I think that's the first cameo. And then we have issue 283, and that is the second appearance. So I still need to work on getting 282 to kind of complete this little War Machine key issue deal. Anyway, that's the Iron Man I got. Then I was able to pick up some more Moon Knight, and I love picking up Moon Knight. These were not in the dollar books, but they were 50% off. I think they wound up being, again, it didn't cross the threshold of that $5 cap, I guess I kind of unknowingly put on myself. They both feature Bill Sienkiewicz covers. Tony 8 doesn't have any significance, but that is an awesome scimitar battle in the desert with Moon Knight. And then issue 29, I'm sure you guys have probably seen this cover before. It features Werewolf by Night. It's not a pristine copy by any means, but it's good for my collection. So happy to have added that. Next, we're gonna move to some Captain America books that I was able to pick up. Got a classic cover of issue 250 here for Cap for Prez. Love that one. There's a little bit of a water stain in the corner here, but for the price I got it at, it was totally fine. Cap 286, featuring Deathlock and a great Mike Zeck cover. You might have seen me show off some of the issues, part of that story arc. This one is one of my friend Jerry's favorite issues of Captain America. It's issue 295, featuring the Sisters of Sin, evil nuns working with the Red Skull. He loves it for the pure comedy of it, so I kind of had to pick this up. I didn't know, even like a year ago, I would be picking up Captain America books, but I definitely thought of my buddy Jerry when I saw this, and hey, this is part of that Grunwald run, so you know how to pick that up. Then issue 330, featuring D-Man, Demolition Man. The costume's a weird mashup of like the yellow, tan Daredevil costume with the mask of Wolverine. And then we have Captain America 390. This was part of the Superior Stratagem, part 4 of 6. Ron Lim does some great group shots. I mean, he'd have a chance to show that off in Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity War, and Infinity Crusade, where you get to draw like everyone. I'm going in ascending order of titles that I got more and more issues of. So the second largest chunk goes to Daredevil. I showed Daredevil 190 before, but I was able to get a great deal on a ton of this Daredevil. I think these came out to like under $2 each. Parts of Born Again, which I've been slowly picking up just fairly recently. So to find the various parts for prices that I like. Issue 231. This is where Kingpin basically uses a criminal, Crazy Man, to dress up as Daredevil to kind of ruin his name. Then we have issue 232 featuring Nuke, a soldier that went through the Super Soldier program later on and is mentally unstable and is powered up by red or blue pills. Winds up being quite a handful for Daredevil and Captain America. So I'm only missing, I think, 2 more parts of Daredevil Born Again. Then I'll have the complete run in floppy issues. Got this fun little quasi-key book here. Daredevil 255, featuring the second appearance of Typhoid Mary. Love that cover, and I'm about to show you a bunch of Daredevil books I got for $1, which shows off the Senti run. It's more of a hidden gem of a run on Daredevil, overshadowed by Frank Miller. It also has some great work by John Romita Jr. I know his work is not for everyone, but here is where it got a little more blocky and the lines a little bit looser. And I don't know, there's something about these covers, his style at the time, I really like. And some crossovers that are happening at this time are Inferno and Acts of Vengeance. So we can move fairly quickly through this. Issues 262. 267, 269. That one features Blob and Pyro. So I'm guessing either it's probably Freedom Force that is giving him a hard time there. Issue 281. I know things get kind of metaphysical. Daredevil kind of locking horns with like Mephisto. The introduction of Mephisto's son Blackheart. That's a part of this run. I have not started reading it yet because I'm still working on the Chip Zdarsky run of Daredevil, but I've got a huge chunk of Nat and the Senti's run now. I think I either gotta like read it side by side with, because I am really itching to take a crack at it. Issue 283, featuring a great cover with Cap. Issue 287. Got a little boxing theme here, along with issue 289. And John Romita Jr.'s Kingpin just looks massive. So even just as, a bit of a ghost, kind of like Star Wars-like in the background there. Some of the covers in this run too has Kingpin front and center, and I love his depiction of him. Then this is, I think this is where it changes to D.G. Chichester's run, issue 294. I picked these up just because they connect to I think the last Right story arc, which I picked up at 297 to 300. So I was like, let's just fill in the gaps. Issue 295, featuring the Ghost Rider. So our boy Ghost Rider coming back here. And last but not least for Daredevil, issue 296. And that brings us to the title that I got the most issues of, which is Wolverine. I actually am not sure what I want to do. I had in the back of my mind collecting, his first ongoing, get issues 1 through 100. I had the chance to get basically everything except Wolverine 88, which, is not a dollar book by any means. It's Wolverine and Deadpool, a famous cover. I think their first meeting. I do want to get that eventually. That's on a to-get list, but there's no rush for that. My question, though, is there were some, there's some covers or storylines that I don't really have much interest in that run of Wolverine 1 through 100. And, I was looking through it. I didn't want to go overboard. I mentioned I got a lot of these books for $1 from J&S Collectibles. So I could have got basically everything except Wolverine 88. But I wasn't, I don't know. I wasn't really up for that. And I might be perfectly happy sticking with what I got here. Pick up issue 88, or the remaining issues might just be, I don't know, if I can find them for less than $1. I definitely have no qualms picking it up. Otherwise, I might just ignore that completionist part of my brain and just let it be. I don't know. Do you guys struggle with this with any of the titles that you collect? I know some folks only do key issues, so I'm more looking at those of you who are run collectors as well. I'd love to hear if you ever just stop at kind of a random point, or if there's a logical way to do this. I mean, if I don't like the cover and don't care about the story all that much, I think that's an okay criteria to say no to, right? Anyway, the Wolverine books I got. We got Wolverine number 3. I'm sorry, this one was not $1. This one was a whopping $2.50. But Wolverine number 3. Sorry, so the rest of these are $1. First, we got some John Byrne goodness. Issue 18, and that is a funky looking blockbuster there, which I think that's his first appearance. I could be wrong. Issue 19, featuring Tiger Shark. Issue 20, also with Tiger Shark. And this really does fill in a lot of the random holes I had. Issue 32, the holes I had in this run. Issue 34. Issue 35, featuring Lady Deathstrike. Then there's a bunch of issues that introduced Albert and LCD. Albert's kind of like they're both robots, cyborgs, what have you, that became supporting characters in the title. This is 38. 39. LCD is the little girl here. I forget. I think she talked with a lisp. It's been a while since I read those comics. You can see Albert up here, so kind of more of the fake organic skin and tissue have ripped off, so he's looking more cybernetic, a little more almost Terminator-like. If you were to cross the T100, Arnold is the T500, right? Not the 100. I know the T1000 is the liquid metal one. Clearly, I need to brush up on my Terminator, but issue 40. And apologies, the last few were all Mark Silvestri covers. Then we have issue 54, featuring Shatterstar of X-Force. Issue 58, that featured Terror. I know he was around in the 90s. I don't know that much about the character. Issue 63, there we have a Mark Teixeira cover. I got a bunch of those recently. Issue 64. This kind of delved into more, this cover just doesn't do it for me. But the completionist in me wanted to kind of plug it in the run. That harkens back to that question I posed up front. Issue 68, another Mark Teixeira cover. Issue 77, we got some great Adam Kubert art coming up here. Issue 79, love this cover, and here we see this is after Magneto has ripped out his adamantium from Fatal Attractions. That happened, I think, in issue 75. Fantastic cover here. Some more Kubert goodness with issue 95 and the Vindicator and Wolverine throwing down. Then we got some Looks like some X-Men, some members of X-Force at the time. I think Caliban and Cannonball. This is issue number 96. We've got Storm as well. Great cover here with a character that I'm unfamiliar with issue 97. I love that the title's been turned on its side, got a black and white background so that the characters battling really pop. And last but not least for Wolverine, issue number 98. Again, we've got the title turned sideways. It's good. It's good to mix it up with different compositions. So, huge run of Wolverine there. Thank you for bearing with me if you are not much of a Wolverine fan. But I would say this is kind of like my favorites or the notable issues I picked up here. First, we got 2 modern books. And this is related to, or quasi-related to, the upcoming Secret War in MCU. There was some spec for these books. I had stopped collecting these titles at this point, but I kind of want to go back and fill in these issues. So what I'm talking about first is Avengers number 35. Issue 35 is part of the phenomenal Hickman run on the Avengers. It's epic. It ties into Secret War. This one has some significance in that it's the first cover appearance of Sam Wilson in the Captain America costume. It also has the second appearance of the superior Iron Man. That's the inverted bad guy, Tony Stark. This also kicks off the Time's Run Out story arc. And I think if I can find them for cheap, I want to pick up the rest of these issues as well as kind of the latter half of New Avengers. And here we have issue 33. This was the last issue of the book and features the beginning of the incursions, where to survive, basically, one reality has to fight the other and some bad stuff goes down. It's an awesome painted Doom cover as well. I mean, really, I think that's where I started noticing it, when the initial spec for all things Doctor Doom flared up last summer, 2024. This one I basically got for cover price, the original cover price of $5. So I was like, sure, why not? This thing maybe will take off again. If not, they're books that I want for my collection anyway, so no biggie. Now, I know I said I showed you all the X-Men books. I forgot. My last 2 picks are actually X-Men books, which shouldn't be surprised. My favorite titles to collect are probably like Spider-Man, X-Men, Batman, Silver Surfer. I was looking through my CLZ app, and it shows you kind of what you have, what titles you have the most issues of, and it's always interesting. Maybe I'll share a screen grab right now of like what I have the most of. This might be something fun to share over, on Instagram, which you guys can also find me. Old stuff is cool. It could be a great point of conversation, and just to find out, what characters, what teams, and what kind of titles you like. So the first X-Men book I want to share. Again, there's nothing like hugely valuable about these, but they're ones that I was keeping an eye out for. It's Heroes for Hope, featuring a fantastic cover by Arthur Adams. This one, I remember Mike from Lunch Money Comics, who I got to meet at the show in person. He talked at length about this one. I think he got either all or almost all of the creative team to sign it over the course of a few years or something like that. So it kind of put it on my radar. I love all things X-Men. I love Arthur Adams drawing X-Men. I used to have a poster in my room. The proceeds of this book went to help benefit the famine relief efforts in Africa and probably raise awareness to it as well. I haven't had the chance to read it yet, but greatly looking forward to that. And the last one is X-Men related too. It's a book I've been keeping my eye out for, and this one was, I think, a whopping, again, it's not the value thing, but I think for a whopping $2.50, I got a newsie of classic X-Men #1. Arthur Adams here, fantastic cover. And while I thought it was just a straightforward reprint of Giant Size X-Men #1, it's actually a fantastic retelling of, they splice in new pages to give more background in the interactions of the new team and the original 5 X-Men. And it's kind of funny, Iceman doesn't take very well to them, is very antagonistic, kind of immature, much like a child might behave if told that a baby is on the way, that they're going to be an older brother or a big sister. So he doesn't take to it well. Lots of great stuff. I did not expect that. I do know that the other issues of classic X-Men often have like pinups or other things, but I'm guessing there might be some short stories also spread out through those reprints. For any of you out there who might be classic X-Men collectors, let me know, because I've seen some of the covers on these reprints, and I really like them. Sometimes they are like an homage to the original cover. Sometimes there's something brand new and original. Because if that's the case, I'm not against picking up some more X-Men, but I should probably really save funds to complete the Claremont run. Especially, I'm starting to get into the issues before the Dark Phoenix saga. Even though I'm focusing on Dark Phoenix saga, I think we're gonna complete that mini goal for this year. Whew. So okay, that was the haul for the 3 Men in the Basement comic swap. It was such a fun event. I would definitely be up for going again. I would recommend, if you're in the area, to go check it out. I had a great time, and I now have a little bit of a checklist of things to make it an even better experience. But I'd love to hear from you guys now that we're wrapping things up. Did you have a favorite book from the haul? Did you have any great, cool pickups recently? Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I want to thank you for your time for checking out today's video, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Take care.